What's happening? Greetings everybody, it's Whoa Daddy back in action, and tonight we are going to be making a super fun drawing which is going to be really relaxing. It's called a Zentangle, and so basically what you do is you kind of come up with an idea and you create a pattern, and then within that pattern you just kind of flow and repeat it and then sort of see where it takes you. So it might lead you through just a whole lot of repetition and you see where you end up, or some repetition and then some new vibes. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. The suggestion comes from Starry Night, and she wants to see a chocolate strawberry. So I figured we'd take the whole strawberry, we'll have a little chocolate fun, and we'll set it down right in Starry Night. So we'll call it the Starry Night Strawberry Chocolate Zentangle. Let's get into the creation station and check it out! Alright, welcome back to the creation station, and tonight we are going to be using a brand new Sharpie for our Zentangle, a bunch of Portfolio Series pastels, and we're going to be working landscape orientation, which is going to go horizontal across our page, because if you didn't know, Starry Night was created by the famous Vincent van Gogh, and he just had all sorts of amazing landscapes. He would go outside and he would paint them. He was also really good at portraits and flowers. So if you're not familiar with Vincent van Gogh, check him out. I've been to his entire collection in the Netherlands and it is absolutely amazing. So let's get on down here and get rolling. All right, so we are gonna start with the strawberry as our subject matter tonight. And if you're not familiar with the shape, it's gonna be kind of like a fun heart shape. So this is gonna be kind of our big guide for our chocolate strawberry Starry Night. And it's going to be rounded and not so pronounced at the top. Now, if we look at a strawberry, we're going to see very closely it has this kind of teardrop seed shape, which is surrounded kind of by sort of an opening, and so they kind of fill in all the space between each other. So we're just going to kind of start building these teardrops where we think they should lead us, and that's the super fun exploration that you get with the Zentangle. There's not really one result, but you want to create a sort of flow. So what they might do is they might get kind of larger in the middle so that they look like they're getting closer to us. That's an effect that you can create through a work of art, and so that might be something fun to explore with this Zentangle. So I'm just kind of getting into a groove here, creating these teardrop shapes and this sort of circular area around it, and I'm building as I go. So I'm going to work my way up the side, across, back to the middle, sometimes skip a big gap and go in between. So I'm sort of filling like that. Try not to make them quite touch, but coming fairly close to each other. And you can see as I'm getting towards the center, you gotta think the strawberry is kind of round. So this is the area where they're gonna get the largest. So I might stick small down here, particularly so that I can get some in between. Maybe go slightly larger and then back to a smaller one here. And having them kind of just gently kiss the edge. So small one, about the same size right here, much larger one coming up here. I'm going to fill in the gap, maybe get a nice big boy right here, and a nice big one here. Get a big one in between these two, get a rather large sizable one right here, so we're seeing some sort of growth. Go back to a small one, about the same size. I'm gonna go larger. I'm gonna go a little bit smaller. The cool thing is how relaxing it is. And then you can create sort of a theme, and you can teach your theme and see how people alter your theme. You can come back to a theme and try it again. It's a great sort of meditative way. I like to approach my work kind of before I start drawing. So maybe I'll do one of these before getting into something with some particular details. So I'm gonna go kind of small along the edge here and then get kind of medium size. So they're getting bigger and then they're gonna get smaller again. So that will be sort of what I'm trying to attempt tonight is small, medium, large, medium, small, and try to create a nice little flow like that. So I got medium in here. Maybe I'll throw another medium in here. And then we'll do a little small one in between, a little small one over here. All right, so you can see that there's some sort of growth and movement. Medium, medium. And you got a medium going here. A kind of medium one going on this side, just to kind of round that portion off. Then you got a little guy. Another kind of smallish medium. Small, getting small, getting it kind of tight together, small. All right, so you can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna breathe in between each one, breathe out as I'm starting a new one. So it can be a great exercise aside from just drawing, just kind of getting in touch with yourself, slowing down for a minute, taking a second to pause, observing something as tasty as a strawberry and making something cool like this. So what I might do is just for a little hint of fun, I'm gonna hit all the little center sections with a highlighter to give it a certain level of intensity. Now typically when you're making a Zentangle, this is like sort of the standard, is that you would use a very small piece of paper, usually like a square, and you would use a very fine point pen. But this is Whoa Daddy style. I like the Sharpie, so I'm gonna go a little bit bigger with the paper. I want something you're gonna be able to see in the video where my hand doesn't completely cover it up. I wanna take the small relaxing idea and sort of go big with it. Because sometimes I like to start a work like this, and maybe if I was just doing it as an exercise, I would come back to it multiple times, and you could see sort of the different moods and modes sort of coming to life, and the work evolving over time. And that's a cool sort of chant-based element to add to your artwork. So I have all these great little neon yellows. And what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go, it's usually like a little darker in there. It could be a little lighter. I'm gonna go pink. All right, we're gonna get this one and go pink and just kind of fill them in. I really like the pastel for this because the pastel is vibrant and it colors pretty swiftly. I think a marker or a Sharpie would be good, but the thing is, you're not gonna get the same textural effect that you're gonna get with the pastel. And so one of the things I like to do when I'm mixing my medium is that little yellow part is like so shiny. So a highlighter was kind of a neat way to represent that. And then the strawberry is, oh look, I missed one. The strawberry sort of has a, you know, kind of like a texture to it. And so it still does have a bit of a shine. So rather than using a faded look like a crayon, I'm choosing the pastel for this section. And Really, the main reason is because I got a new set and I want to try them out. But, you know, as artists, we all have our reasons for picking what we do. So, as you can see, I'm sort of working my way around these pink sections, and sort of let it pick up the pace here. And you know, I try not to rush. The goal is I just sort of like to set a medium pace. And just like yoga or meditative breathing, that really helps you sort of get into a flow with what you're doing. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these small ones at the top. And it also helps you develop consistency, and it's just kind of like training. You know, you're training yourself to get your technique down. And if you're training yourself to go faster, then you can time yourself and see how fast you can color them in. You can see how fast you can color them neatly. You can see just how fast you can do it regardless of how it looks. You know, it's your art, so you can do with it what you want. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna I'm gonna imagine it's like ink, and it's just filling up all the space inside my strawberry bit by bit, and I'm letting it just sort of grow into this fun masterpiece. I'm playing Pac-Man and I'm trying to eat all the dots, one section at a time, until I've filled the entire work of art. So what I'm trying to do is continuous coloring, which means that I'm not going to lift up my pastel, and I'm just gonna sort of let the work guide me from one section to the other. And like I said, you're really just honing your technique here. You're relaxing, you're coloring, you're having a good time, and you're gonna end up really with something pretty and enjoyable to look at, to give to somebody as a gift, to bring joy to your day, to brighten up a space. Whatever the reason is that you're choosing to do this, you wanna make sure that you're enjoying yourself, even if you're thinking about nothing, or it's helping you get into some sort of deep thought. There's lots of reasons people make artwork. Now, if you're just trying to knock out 100 of these because you want to sell them and you want to make some money and you're not taking pleasure in doing it, then I would recommend finding something else that you enjoy. Coloring's not for everyone, but if you explore it, I guarantee you will find a way to have some sort of joy with what you're doing when you're creating a work of art. And you should always sort of think of yourself as a special, unique person expressing something inside, even if you have a belief of what good art should look like or not. Any sort of expression is an amazing thing, and you should just get out there and go for it. So we've got the strawberry colored, and now we're going to think about the shape that we see in the leaves. And it's typically pointed, a little bit taller, pointed, kind of like, looks like a little old school Adidas. All right. We're gonna kind of get a little line moving towards the center, something like that. And then do a second one behind it, in between it, behind it. Get a little line overlap. That's always a fun feature. Kind of brings it to life. Behind it, over top, behind it, connect it, bring it down, bring it to life. All right, now, one thing I like to do further with the pastels, it shows some variety. So we have this kind of textured look on the strawberry. I'm gonna go light on the top of these. Light, light, light. This is gonna help me with my overlapping. I'm gonna go light up here, light, light. I'm gonna leave a little bit on the in-between one for a little darkness. So we get what's called contrast. Contrast is a really great thing because contrast is when you have two different colors next to each other and they work together to help each other stand out. You know, kind of like being in a relationship, you know? One person has one quality, one has another. It may be different. They work together to make something magical. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and kind of smudge that. So that's one of the great things with the pastels. So now you can see we have this wonderful variety. And now we're gonna add our touch of Van Gogh and then a wonderful dollop of chocolate. So, if you're not familiar with Starry Night, there's a mountainside in the city and some trees in the front. We're gonna kind of omit the trees in the front because the chocolate's gonna take over. We're just gonna start with a gentle flow of mountains, and it goes up from left to right. So we're gonna do that just to kind of remind us of Starry Night. Now, Starry Night has a wonderful crescent moon in it, kind of like that. It's a very intense crescent. And what it has is it has these swirls of light that are going to go around it. So I'm going to kind of take the edge of my moon and I'm going to just start a swirl, and I'm just going to move my hand in a nice, even, steady fashion until I get to a point where I feel like I should stop and add a star. So I like that because it's using the space really well. Now, we're gonna put a star down here, and Van Gogh used circles, and then we're just gonna kind of pick up a swirl right here through the hills and cut through. All right, so we're gonna throw another star in right here. Trying to think back to the old Starry Night picture and sort of the placement of the stars and how they move from left to right across the top. And then there are a few sporadic ones down in the bottom, kind of shadowing over the landscape. And I like it like that. Boop. All right. So, we'll put another sort of big one right here. We're gonna get some heavier movement. All right, I'm just gonna sort of swirl that out. All right, and leave it like that. I'm gonna go ahead and throw one in between. So it's kind of mimicking what we were doing on the strawberry, which is like a really cool thing. Zentangles are also a great way to just sort of explore an idea. And sometimes you're going in exploration and you go, well, that was kind of weird and funky. Or sometimes you're going one and say, hey, I came up with this awesome, awesome idea. So I'm gonna throw another one down here like this. Got a little close together, so I could be critical of myself. And get this swirl working out like this. Like this. All right, now what he did in between was he created this sort of wavelength, and so the wavelength is going to be a way for me to fill the space and also just sort of create a connection that mimics what we're seeing in the light radiating from the stars. So I'm going to put a little wavelength here, kind of like calm cloud or something like that. Kind of mimics the shape of the mountain that we have down below. The wavelengths of just kind of the night sky, peaceful. So we're gonna go across here, we're gonna add a few more. All right, and a couple coming in and out right here and right here, and then along the bottom, down, up and down, up and down, and one right there. All right, so that's pretty wonderful. Now, one of the things we're gonna do down here on the bottom is we are gonna create our mountainside, and we're gonna go with some real cool colors. All dark, but we're gonna add a little white to them. Now, before we do that, I'm just gonna kind of follow the landscape a little bit and create this big dripping splat of chocolate. Kind of use the shape of the strawberry as if it were creating some sort of pressure on the landscape. That's what we're gonna do. And we're just gonna kind of imagine it's dipped straight across like that. So when you have a strawberry that's dipped, you're gonna kind of do that. Now, this is one of the great ways to show off the versatility of the pastels. And that is that if you take a dark color, and you can do it with a light color too, but it's not as intense, you can just completely cover up what you have going on. And if we look closely, we can still kind of see the texture of the strawberry. Now, if you didn't want to see that at all, you would simply have had to draw your splat first and just not draw any of the strawberry Zentangle there. But having that helped me get into a flow. So I chose to draw the whole thing and color over it. Now, I want to make the chocolate rich and intense. And so I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in just like so, and carefully go around. Then we're gonna have a little bit of cleanup to do with all the kind of oil dust from the pressure that we're putting on, but we're gonna have a really nice kind of milk chocolate effect in here. I'm gonna go around my line, around my line, around my line. There we go. Really covering it up. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of shake it off. All right. And then you might just want to take your finger and just carefully just kind of soften up some areas. And just kind of soften it up over there. Really kind of cover it up and kind of get those white spots filled in. You know, give it that nice look. Okay. Like the chocolate has sort of solidified and it's smooth and creamy and milky. All right. So we have a much nicer chocolate effect there. Okay, now, so what we're gonna do on the bottom is we're just gonna have the hills flow in this direction. So one of the cool things about work of art is you have movement, and then if you counterbalance that movement with some movement in another direction, that's another way to show contrast. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take each hill and just sort of draw a little line kind of in this direction to kind of balance that out. And put one here, and put one here. So we're just going to kind of start with blue, and then we're just going to sort of create a pattern. I'm going to go green. All right, green, 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 and now I'm going to sort of do some purple, 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 purple. All right, now we're gonna get into a flow here. So purple, green, blue, purple, green, blue, purple, green, blue, purple, green, blue, a little blue up here, green, blue. All right, and some blue here. All right, and then just sort of start mixing it in. Then I'm gonna actually add a really cool effect coming up shortly after that. We're gonna get some purple going here, some purple areas. All right, and now I just want to kind of create some more by balancing my pattern out with some more of the colors. I'm just gonna kind of fill in, fill in, fill in, and then we're gonna go back. And then even though it's not gonna be some sort of grand level of perfection, there's gonna be variety there. And that is the way that I chose to create tonight's pattern. And you know what? I'm liking it. So sometimes your reasoning for how you create the rhythm in your artwork, you know, that's totally up to you. That's how you're gonna feel. All right, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start mixing some white in. All right, and so you can see one of the things that's happening when I'm mixing the white in is it sort of create a blending effect. And that blending effect is really, really cool because you can create movement out of line. And if you pick a color scheme, like in this example, I used a cool color scheme. I got some movement, and now it kind of looks like sort of a rainbow kind of ice cream sort of coming out of my chocolate. So we got our inspiration from Starry Night. We've got our inspiration from our materials. We've got our inspiration from Starry Nights on YouTube, who, thank you for the awesome suggestion. I love these sort of like impromptu ideas you guys are sending me. Sometimes, you know, I get a lot of requests for popular stuff or gaming stuff or, you know, just sort of what's happening in the media stuff. And, you know, sometimes it's just kind of cool, kind of end up sort of in your own little happy place. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna rock this and we're gonna color in the shapes in our sky. All right. And then we're gonna color a little bit around it. All right, a little bit around it, kind of like that. All right, and then we're gonna take our white again and we're gonna kind of blend around it so that we're keeping that center nice and clean, but everything around that is becoming something else. Okay, going around this. All right, and then the last touch for Starry Night is we're gonna go with some light blue around our yellow so that we had a nice sort of light color so that you can see the sky, the dark blue sky is getting a nice reflection from the light. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill in with a dark color. And I'm just gonna try to follow my lines and blend it in. I'm gonna color around the strawberry. All right, and sort of go like this, my stars. All right, and you know what? I think this is gonna lead me somewhere because sometimes two colors just isn't enough. It's a good start. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get, ooh, excuse me. I'm gonna get my blue going around here, in between here, in between here. All right, now, one more touch. Little purple, little purple. Get a little of that purple in there, all right? Get along the edge, kind of fill it in between the spots. Get a little up here, a little up here. A little bit over here, a little bit over here on the top. All right, now here we go. Now, smooth that sky, smooth that sky. All right, there we go. Bring it to life. That purple, bring it to life. That's what's so great about using these pastels. Now, I'm using 80-pound watercolor paper, which is a great start for projects like this. If you're gonna use some watercolor or you're gonna do something like that, you know, you can see the workability is pretty good. you know, and I have a fairly steady hand and some experience with this, but if you want something that's going to be a little bit easier to work with and give you a thicker, higher quality, more archival result, use like 120 pounds, 140 pounds. You'll see a big difference. You'll notice you can still get the smudgeability without the kind of flexing of the paper. So now we are going to take our lovely black and we're going to get down the bottom and throw a signature on there. Thank you for the suggestion, Starry Night. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe for more action, send your comments this way, and have a groovy Starry Night.